This podcast centers Jevon Gibson as one of several Black men's voices in advancing Black feminism and public health. Jevon Gibson is an experienced public health and social innovation strategist with over 20 years of professional experience designing, developing, and implementing public health and social innovation efforts to scale. His professional experience includes serving as the director of the Office of Infectious Diseases with the Georgia Department of Public Health, where he led statewide HIV, STI, refugee health, and TB programs. Mr. Gibson also has led county-wide health and youth development efforts. For over 10 years, he has also served as CEO and senior consultant for Community Health Solutions. Mr. Gibson is currently the CEO of the Fulton DeKalb Hospital Authority, the owners of the Grady Health System, Grady being the largest safety net hospital in Georgia with the only Trauma One trauma center in the region. On a personal note, I am part of the Atlanta natives who call ourselves Grady babies. Listen in as Jevon and I discuss the complexity of including young Black men in reproductive health from the context of race, class, and lived experiences. As a public health expert with a background in intervention development, Jevon critiques my respect framework with a unique perspective on the power dynamics of Black love. Boy, did I learn some things. And he provides insight on conceptualizing a male-centered health intervention called the locker room as a safe space for young boys. So I'd like to just start with that, with your work, and then we'll just take it from there.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. Just imagine, right, having to give agency to young Black males when we're talking about reproductive health.
Right.
Right? Somehow, somewhere along the line, we figured that these babies are born without the help of men. So that narrative, that part of the narrative is something that I've been really adamant about over the years. But I think there's a larger conversation here. I think it's understanding the dynamic interplay between things like race, class, and lived experience as it relates to young men and the way they relate to women. I thought that as important as it was to teach young brothers how to properly engage with women and to raise families and so on, I think it was as important to hear from them, to understand, what their perception was of manhood and Black masculinity and male responsibility. And then somewhere in the two, there was the opportunity to create true learning moments and lived experience. So my career has really been about giving agency. We like to say empowering young men, but the reality of it is, I think it goes beyond that, primarily because we see it as legacy work, right? We always say that we have an obligation to ensure that these young brothers are equipped to occupy the space that has been presented to them and the role that they have within our families, within our communities, and the larger society.
So talk to me about my model so far. What good, better, different? What do you have to say about it?
So I think you can never understate the value proposition of respect to a Black man, to any man, but to a Black man. So think about it. Let's put it in the context of just in the city, in the community. You got another young brother's looking at him. I don't like the way you're looking at me. Why? That's a function of respect. I feel disrespected. How many times have we heard that narrative? I feel disrespected. Why are you talking to me like that? I feel disrespected. And somehow, some way, we have not uncovered this idea of what does respect really mean to this Black man, right? And it encapsulates so many other things. There's a sense of self-value, the sense of self-worth. Let me tell you this, Dr. Quinn, one of the things that always blows me away, and when I have the opportunity to say it, I think it's important to say, one of the greatest misnomers that we have when we talk about relationships between Black men and Black women is this idea that somehow Black men control the narrative. I figured out many, many, many years ago that the vast majority of things that I did for a Black woman. Almost everything. When I got dressed, I dressed for a Black woman. When I picked my car, I picked my car for a Black woman. When I got my hair cut, I got my hair cut for a Black woman. When I decided to work hard, I worked hard for a Black woman, right? Almost everything I did. When I wanted to make somebody proud, I wanted to make my grandmother and my mother proud. I did it for a Black woman. Black women still have not realized the value and the power that they have. We make the assumption that black men are drivers of the narrative, but in actuality, I used to tell people one time, many, many years ago, I would say, if one day all the black women got up and decided to be on the very same page, watch what would happen to our behavior. And what I meant by that is, for example,
did they do a movie about that in Chicago?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
They need to though. If every black woman got up and decided to say, look, guess what? I can't be with you unless you have certain things in order. Watch how quickly jokers would get in order. If every black woman got up and said, no, I can't be, I'm not going to be your girlfriend, nothing's going to happen sexually until you do this, and there's no other place for you to go to compromise.
That's the pin in it right there. And there's no other place for you
to go to compromise. Watch how quickly jokers would conform. So where does the power exist? Where does the agency really exist? We know we're not stupid. We know we're nothing without you. But we will ride with this narrative as long as you allow us to.
Wow.
So in truth, because wow, it allows me to maintain my respect. It allows me to feel as though I'm truly in control of this situation, right? Because if you think about it, when you've seen black men be extremely vulnerable, it's when they connect with this person who they can't seem to control or dictate their behavior. When they meet that woman who's like, oh, that's nice, but you remember the movie Boomerang back in the day with Eddie Murphy? Remember she flipped the script on Eddie, and all of a sudden he was looking crazy, like, finger in his mouth and in his ear, like, what happened? That's not supposed to happen.
You got some acting skills, you know that, right?
That's the reality of it, right? So when we talk about respect, I think it's having an understanding of truly what respect means to a black man and to most men. But secondly, most importantly, it's being very clear about the power dynamics and the locker room concept. People always automatically thought it was because of sports. Sports wasn't the reason why I chose the locker room. I was sitting, I'll never forget this. This was when I created the locker room concept. I literally did it in like a 3-hour writing session after the health department closed. I was told that day, hey, can you do something with this men's health program? And I was thinking, well, I was supposed to just be doing this piece, but I love the people I was working with, and I know that they would give me the opportunity to be creative. And so I sat there that night, and I literally walked around the health department. I looked around, and I was like, okay, this is not, and that's where the concept came. And I sat and wrote a conceptual framework for the locker room that night. But here's why I chose the locker room. What is the one space where everyone is exactly the same, regardless of socioeconomic, sexual orientation, whatever? When you strip down in preparation to go play a sport in the locker room, everybody's the same. I don't know what family, I don't know your level of education. Nobody's in the locker room, talking science or talking whatever. You're in there getting your mind ready, and everybody's the same. It's a place where oneness, right, is sort of cultivated, because we're getting ready to do this team sport, or we're getting ready to do this sport, or whatever this is. Either I'm getting in my own head because I'm getting ready to play a tennis match, or I'm getting in my head because I'm getting ready to be a part of this larger group that we call a team. But we strip down and we shed our exterior, and now we're all naked, right? This is where we are. That's where the concept of the locker room came from. It wasn't just because of sports. It was this idea of this space where everyone is the same, level playing